What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel dedicated to Manchester United. We've just had some massive breaking news that Sheikh Jassim has submitted a fifth bid for Manchester United. His offer comes with a Friday deadline. After that, the offer still stands, but they will no longer have engagement in negotiations. His bid went in earlier this week with the opening of the transfer window on the 14th of June, being kind of like a key factor in this case. The new offer, although revised upwards, so he's improved it slightly, but it still falls short of £6 billion apparently. So that is the news. There's more and more developments coming out on this, but just as your kind of breaking headline, and for everybody just joining now, make sure you get your comments in, by the way. Make sure you smash like on the video. Sheikh Jassim has submitted a fifth bid for Manchester United. His offer comes with a Friday deadline. After then, the offer still stands, but he will no longer have engagement in negotiations. Like I said, the new offer, although revised upwards, falls short of the Glazers' £6 billion valuation. The deadline's Friday. He will disengage from the process. Basically, just got to a point now where we are with fans really at the minute, where it's just like this has been ongoing since November when they announced that they was looking for strategic alternatives, and now it's just got to a point where we're in June, nearly mid-June for God's sake, and we're still talking about this process and still talking about, and it's like, oh, fucking hell, man, can we just end it, please? Just whichever way you want to go now. It's got to a point where a lot of people just don't give a fuck. They're just like, I don't care. Just sell the club and make sure you sell it. Obviously, people care about the Sir Jim Ratcliffe bid because he's kind of going to be keeping the Glazers in. And I'm going to touch on Ineos in a second. But these pros and cons, I think, with both sides, I absolutely agree with either side. And I get the points of a lot of people, you know, Qatar coming in, significant cash injection. You're going to get everything you need, investment in the women's team, investment in the structure, investment in the stadium. And then with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, people are not as sure. People are thinking, well, maybe the debt's still going to be lingering. The Glazers are still going to be making money from the club. So we don't want that. And I absolutely get that. But yeah, the fifth bid has gone in from Sheikh Jassim. That is where we're at the moment. Brian Casey saying, afternoon, Nick. Afternoon to Brian. Fingers crossed this is enough to get the deal over the line and get the Glazers gone. If I'm being bluntly honest, and some people might not want to hear this, I don't think it will be. I think something came out before. This is coming from the Lawton Times. So Matt Law, who's very credible as well, and he's saying Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos have emerged as clear favourites to complete a deal and have entered the final stages of negotiations with Rain Group. So it seems like that's very close to being done. It's not the same with football transfers like it is, you know, kind of dealing a club, but it's kind of like, you know, personal terms agreed between Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Ineos, and the Rain Group, basically. That deal is there, ready to be done. But what I think the Glazers are doing is, I think they're sat there and they're just going to wait a couple of weeks until, and now the final bid's come in from Qatar, another one, which still isn't £6 billion, by the way. Now they're sat there like, right, what should we do with this now? I think that the whole dispute, and it's so stupid because us fans get left in the dark. We get treated like mushrooms. You know what I mean? It's so stupid. They're arguing over, I think they want £1 billion each. There's 6 siblings, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. You've got Darcy, Avram, Joel, and then I couldn't even tell you who the other 3 are. It's fucking Kenneth, Gertrude, Peter. No idea. But there's 6 siblings. So I believe they want £1 billion each, and they don't want to settle for like £700 million each, which is absolutely outrageous. Because when they first bought Manchester United, they only used £200 million of their own money, and then they leveraged the rest of it against the club, which is still here to this day. And whoever is taking over this club has to take that debt into consideration, has to take in how much cash injection it needs for transfers, for the stadium. You know, it's not just, you're not just buying this club for £6 billion. You're probably going to put another £4 billion on top of it, with everything considered. So it's like a £10 billion package. Now, granted, after you've invested it all in United, if they continue on this trajectory that we are, you know, under Eric Ten Hag, then the club's going to be worth a significant amount and you're going to get your return on investment, and that's absolutely fine. But there is still, it's just besides the point that United is still a very, very, very expensive, lucrative thing to buy, and the Glazers are just sat there saying, I don't care, we don't care. And they never have cared. They never have cared. They never had this emotional sentiment about Manchester United. So, yeah, let's get into some comments from TikTok anyway. Let's have a look. Lewis in the chat saying, yo, hello. Whole process has been ridiculous, says Dave. Absolutely agree with that, mate. When are they announcing the Qatar? Well, Qatar have just put in the final bid. So, I mean, he says Friday basically is when it's going to happen. So, well, not when it's going to happen, but he's basically got until Friday, and then he's just going to disengage from it. He can't be asked with it, and he's literally like the fans. The fans are just like, we don't care now. Every update, we're like, oh yeah, 5th round. What's saying going to be a 6th round of bids, 7th round of bids? It's almost turned into a boxing match. Do you know what I mean? Like a boxing match has 12 rounds. We're on the 5th round of bids at the minute. It's outrageous. They're just pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing until they get that 6 billion. And because this bid now falls short of 6 billion, again, I don't think they're going to accept it. I think they will go with Sir Jim because what Sir Jim is offering, he's valuing the club at more. 1 second. Hey, coffee and me generate. He's valuing the club more, right? So he's saying, I think it's worth £6 billion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer 51%. So £3 billion is putting forward. And then you guys will still have a sharehold in the club. I'll have the say, let's say, for example. But after 2-3 years' time, you eventually go and I buy you out of the club. That way they make more money. And the only language the Glazers have ever known is money. That's it. If you're speaking their language, they'll be like, yeah, fantastic. We're going to make money. Yeah, we'll go with you, mate. We'll go with you. They don't care about any other incentives or what they're actually going to do for the club. So that's what it is. Mike Keegan's also reported as well the need to strengthen Eric Ten Hag's squad has played a major role in Sheikh Jassim's latest and final United bid. He's keen to complete the takeover and arm Ten Hag with significant funds ahead of the 23-24 season. Like I said, he told the Rain Group he's not going to engage anymore. So this is where we're at the minute. It's obviously massive news. Who is the favourite now? I still think Sir Jim's favourite, to be honest with you. Sir Jim Ratcliffe is still a favourite. I've always said that. I said that yesterday on the show. I was like, it's not. The 6 billion thing has always been the sticking point with Qatar. They've never been. There's been some kind of shady things going on in terms of they've not been really speaking, the Rain Group and Sheikh Jassim, and then apparently there was one where they just went directly to the Glazers and he was offering some stuff like. It's very weird, very shady. The whole thing's shady. United fans don't really get information. We just have to go off what journalists are saying. And then even journalists, the usual reliable ones, like football journalists, don't really know. So then you look at the financial journalists who know what they're talking about, the Mike Keegans, Kieran, Maguire as well. These kind of guys know what they're talking about when it comes to this. But they're not putting any information out there. And obviously, the two bidders who are going in for him have to sign these kind of like NDAs. So they can't talk about the situation, but maybe they're feeding it through journalists or I don't know. I don't know how Mike Keegan has contact with this. I know the guy at Sky as well, when we had James on from the Muppeteers, he was saying he's the guy to look at as well. Mark Klinsman, I think it is, who's the first guy who initially reported it. So this is where we're at in a minute, basically. So Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos are the favourites, and they're basically ready to sign the deal, ready for it to be done. But the Glazers are holding out for maybe a bit more money. They was waiting for another bid, potentially from Qatar. That bid has gone in today, and then we have to wait for the reaction from that. So how does everybody feel about that? I put a poll up in the chat. Will this final bid from Qatar be enough, or do you think the fact that it's still, short of £6 billion what they initially wanted, do you think they'll still be like, Sir Jim's offering the more lucrative, financially beneficial deal for us, so we're going to go with that? Let me know in the comment section. Sam saying, I don't care anymore. Either accept it or let us know. Brian Casey, unless this bid is in excess of 6 or 7 billion, it won't be enough to move the Glazers on completely. I tend to agree with that. How does he give more funds, whether he gets it or not? We're still under FFP. But a lot of the reports coming out about FFP, it's not as strict as people are thinking, as long as we can sell. As long as we can sell, and we don't spend absolutely ridiculous. You don't spend £1 billion on Mbappe. Like it can be done. But again, this is all down to financial journalists and stuff like this. I'm not a financial genius, am I? So STP Mitchell, yo, everyone, hope all is good. Have an amazing day. Glazers out. Love that message. Thank you very much. Let me have a look what people are saying in the talk of the tick. Don't think you'll ever finish above us. Next 10 years is us and City. If City get done financially, it's just us. I don't know who you are, mate, but probably Arsenal. Wait for the outcome of the Premier League's investigation. Won't Glazers sell our club to Qatar? Probably not. Not if it's not gone over the £6 billion. Glazers are sold to Sir Jim, so then they still have a share in the club. That's what I believe anyway. Chris is saying it's really worrying that the Glazers have taken this long to make a decision. It's just that, mate. That's all it is. Just driving the price up. And they've shown before they don't give a bollocks what United fans think. They don't care. They really don't care. They would sit on this for another 6 months if they wanted to, and if they kind of had to get the money that they want. Honestly, they would just sit there. So we know this as United fans. We're absolutely powerless when it comes to deciding who we want in. They're going to decide, and it's basically we've always knew this from the start. That's one thing we've always known since the start of November is the fact that they will just sell to the highest bidder, whoever's offering the most money. It's as simple as that. It really is. And so Jim's deal right now, even with this Qatar fifth bid, will still benefit the Glazers more financially, I believe. I would be absolutely shocked if they accepted this fifth bid now. I think Sheikh Jassim's, it's weird because the kind of stuff that was being put out before he bid for the club was kind of like he can blow any competition out of the water. He can do this, he can do that. And then the actual bids that he submitted was a little bit underwhelming, the ones that he put in. So you kind of sat there like, well, yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it was very similar to Jim's first offer. I think it was like 5.1 and 5.3, so not much difference. But again, it's a weird standing point for Qatar because I feel like they don't want to be beat to this. I feel like it's kind of like a public, a PR kind of thing. Like if they get beat by Sir Jim Ratcliffe and his company Ineos, this is huge for Qatar. And the reason why they want their name attached to it is for PR reasons, essentially. It's the same reason why they did the World Cup. Do you know what I'm talking about? Exact same reasons. So it's all for positive messages out there. It's probably a little bit of sports washing. And that's where it comes to the two deals. Like, there's people who are saying Sir Jim would be best for the club. There's a lot of people saying Qatar would be best for the club as well. And I think personally, Qatar would be the best just in terms of cash injection. The debt's going to be absolutely cleared. It's going to invest in the women's team. It's going to invest in the training facilities. It's going to invest in Old Trafford. Absolutely. But then there's all the human rights, LGBTQ plus community. Like, there's a lot of things to discuss on either side. So Jim basically getting into bed with the Glazers, which United fans hated straight away. As soon as that got announced, that swayed even more people towards the kind of Qatari ownership. So it's a minefield. It's an absolute minefield. I take everybody's opinion. I respect everybody's opinion on it, and I get why they say what they want. But it's mad. Let's have a look. It's really worrying. I already read that out. They've spent literal billions. Stop crying. Somewhat another clueless person. About time the Glazers left. Not a penny of their money, all while leveraging a previous debt. Yep, absolutely. The club has spent billions, not the owners. Do your research. You don't have a right to success. All owners can do is invest, which they may have. But not enough people will do it. Need empty stadium week in, week out. What happened? What happened? The Glazers have taken over and over. They're milking us dry. Yeah, anyone. I think people just put that in the chat just to kind of get a bit of a reaction. You always get people like, the Glazers have spent this much. Like, they obviously don't have a clue about Manchester United, and they obviously don't have a clue about football, because if you knew about the Glazers, then you know why we were so strongly against them and why we want them out of the club. Like Chris just said then, and milk the club dry. So, yeah, STP Mitchell, if we sell McTominay, Twanzebe, Williams, that should help towards FFP because it's straight profit. Well, yeah, it's players that we've kind of grew up in the academy. Same with Dean Henderson as well, Mitchell. That'll be an important signing in the transfer market. As long as we get that deal done, that will contribute to FFP significantly. Same with Scott McTominay as well, because it's pure profit in the eyes. It's not like we bought someone and they made a profit on him. It's just clean profit. Alpha Chavala says, afternoon, Nick. Good afternoon, Alpha. Hope you're good. Vincent Bullock saying, the only reason why I want Qatar, we need money to make the only way we can stop City from cheating us out of trophies, places in the league in Europa. Qatar takeover only, Glazer and Sir Jim out. Forgot Dean, that'd be some nice change. Yeah, to be honest, I think from what I've seen from polls they've put out on social media and stuff like that, and I take it not everybody's on social media, but a lot of football fans are. A lot of people are leaning towards Qatar. Whether that's right or wrong, people again have their own opinions, but that's the way it's going. I still don't think this fifth bid will be enough. And for anyone who's just joining, Sheikh Jassim has submitted a fifth bid for Manchester United. His offer comes with a Friday deadline. After then, the offer still stands, but he will no longer have engagement in negotiations. It went in earlier this week, and with the opening of the transfer window on the 14th of June coming up, and that's why he's kind of submitted it now and basically said take it or leave it. That's where we're at with the situation. I don't think it'll be enough. I don't think. I've got ice cream in my mouth. Oh my god, that's so cold. Oh, anyway. Oh, good. Wow, that's cold. If we need Premier League title, we need Qatar to take over. Otherwise, it's going to be pointless. Well, I've always believed that myself, but we had Jay Motti from Stretford Paddock on the other day, and he's saying like, if you look at the money we spent over the past 10 years, the £1 billion, it's the same amount of money what City has spent. We've just spent it stupid. And that's where the Glazers come into it. People say the Glazers have spent money, spent the club's money, and they left idiots in charge to spend the money because they was benefiting them commercially. People like Ed Woodward, they left in charge. And you look at the signings and recruitment of the past 10 years under these kind of guys, it's been outrageous. And then we got to a point before Eric Ten Hag, we had an accumulation of players from Fergie's era, from Louis van Gaal's era, from Jose Mourinho's era, from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's era, all blended together, and it was just like, it just had no identity whatsoever. You've seen Eric Ten Hag come in now in his first season. He's bought 5 signings, all his players that he wanted, and you're starting to see a little bit more of an identity and a philosophy in the way we play. Yes, he's had to kind of tweak it in certain bits, in big games, playing the counter-attack at times. He's got a goalkeeper who can't play out from the back, which just makes it ridiculous hard to retain possession. So there is flaws in the team, but that's why he needs another transfer window to get it right. And in order to get it right, the process has to be smooth, and the process hasn't been smooth. So this has disrupted the kind of players we want to go for, and then that disrupts next season. So next season is already being ruined by the Glazers, even when they're leaving. They can't even leave on a good note. They can't even leave with a little bit of positivity. It's like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to announce it in November, and then we're going to drag it right through the summer transfer window. So all you lot have to sit there constantly checking your phones to see, has it been sold yet? Has it been sold yet? Have we bought this guy? Have we bought this guy? And realistically, it's not going to happen. We're not going to get the main targets we want. I know they're saying it's business as usual. It's bullshit. It's not. How can a manager work under that? When it's like, oh, well, he might be coming in. So if he comes in, you'll have this amount of money. But if Qatar come in, you might have a little bit extra to do this. So maybe you can sign this guy. Yes, they'll have targets. They'll have 10, 15 targets, maybe even 20 targets to fall back on. A plan A, B, and C with a striker, centre-back, midfielder, wing-back, keeper, whatever it is. That's why you're seeing so many links with like Rabiot, Mount, Kane, Højlund, bloody Kim Min-jae, Frimpong, fucking Diogo Costa. That's why you're seeing so many targets and you're scratching your head and you're thinking, United can't buy this many players. What's going on here? They're all A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P options. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Sorry, I'll read out a few comments now. Make sure you smash the like on the video, by the way, and subscribe to the channel if you are new around these parts. Like I said, with the ownership, if anything breaks, we go live straight away. And that is what we do. And this is why we're here talking about it right now. Cleon Lopez, if we need... I've already read that out, sorry. Daniel Raj saying another day, another bid, another step in another saga. Yeah, exactly, mate. This club only does sagas, so sick of it. For once, I'd love us to complete a deal before we hear any rumours at all. United notoriously do everything slow. Absolutely everything slow. So, yeah, this is just what we're doing it. Ten Hag is doing a wonderful job. He needs good backup. Qatari will back Ten Hag and give him the freedom on a transfer window. Agree. You're all making very, very good points. I'll read out some more, loads of comments in the TikTok. Do smash a like on the video, by the way, and check our YouTube out as well. If you haven't seen our YouTube yet, I'm live on there over there right now. Make sure you come join me. Subscribe to the channel. The link is in the bio. Qatar will lose, unfortunately. I agree. Why is Son still at Tottenham? No idea. Not discussing that in a minute. Discussing the ownership. There's money available on credit. Should be able to do the business that needs doing. But I don't want it like credit. That word alone, just like, I don't like it. And it might just be because the debt thing. You know what? As soon as you're a United fan, any United fans hear the word debt, it's just like, I can't be asked. I don't want any more debt on this club. A Qatari will come in. They'll pay off the debt. They've got significant funds for transfers. They'll invest into the structure. But that also comes with the hypocrisy of all of us saying as United fans, City are only good because of oil money. They're only this, blah, blah, blah. And then we're kind of making a deal with the devil. And then we're going to sit there and say like, oh, well, it's all right for us to have Qatar or state ownership because it's us. Do you know what I'm saying? So there is a slight little bit of hypocrisy there saying that we want Qatar. You can't lie. Like, I guarantee you, most people who are watching this now would have sat at some point after City got taken over by Sheikh Mansour, and they would have sat there saying, oil money, you're only good because of oil money. we can be good without oil money. We're in a different case. United generate enough money to be good enough. We generate about £600 million per year, by the way. So we can be good enough. But because of how the Glazers have treated the club and basically left it in the dark for 18 years and done fuck all to it, when we first got Carrington, right, the training facilities were state of the art out of anyone in the Premier League. We've fallen behind so many teams now just because the Glazers haven't kept on top of it. They haven't done their house cleaning. They just left it because United generate money constantly anyway. They thought, oh, well, we don't need to update any facilities. We don't need to do this because look how much money we're making. That's why the Glazers are bad owners. That's what people don't know a lot about. So don't give me this bullshit that the Glazers have, oh, they spent money and they've done all right. Do your research, mate. The only news you need to break is Diallo going back on Sunderland back to Sunderland on loan. You just reminded me, actually, we've got the members video dropping today, by the way, on Amad Diallo, his rise to fame, and how he could potentially fit in United's system next season. That is for Real Red Ultra members, by the way. If you want to become a member, click the join button next to the notification bell. It's about £4 a month. It helps support the channel. You get a badge next to your name, a chance to feature on the show, and exclusive content every single week, which nobody else gets to see. So it's more than worth it, absolutely. And it helps us get big guests on. We're working on a couple of journalists now, some big journalists on. We've already had Laurie Whitwell on. We've already had Jay from Stretford Paddock. We've had James from the Muppeteers. We've had Jonathan Schrager on. We're getting more and more guests in terms of surrounding transfers and stuff. And we're going to speak to someone about the ownership as well. Hopefully get him on maybe this week, next week, but some point during June, we're going to get someone quite big on. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. And get in the chat as well. Look, as long as the Glazers involved, I'm happy for the Big Bird to be the new owner. Where's that thing gone? Leicester in the Champions have a better training ground. Exactly. Carrington alongside Old Trafford and also Lady Stadium falling apart. Glazers out. Yep. We don't need Harry Kane. Osman's going to do nothing for United. A lot of people talking about transfers in the chat. Shreyas in the chat saying some financial articles strongly citing that this bid is the final one and might be satisfactory for the Glazers. I don't see it. I really don't see it. I am happy to be proven wrong on this situation. Honestly, I really am. But tell me, has there been much difference from when they first announced it in November to where we are now? Has anything changed at all? No. They're twiddling the thumbs. They're sat in the offices. And the only thing they do, and I've said this on a previous video, is sit in their office in America. They ring up every now and then and they go, right, what are they offering? Okay, which one is going to make me more money? It's a James deal. And they're going to keep us in and then we make more in a couple of years' time. Right, that's fine. Yeah, just do that. But Qatar a bit, no, it doesn't matter who's better. But what about, no. Right, okay, yeah, whoever offers the most, that's what we're going to do, mate. Yeah. All right, so, right. We're obviously not going to say sound they're Americans, but you take my point. Do you think if Villa invest well this summer in January that, I mean, I'm not sure. Probably, yeah. Probably. Got things on my mind over there. Again, people just joining, so I appreciate the fact. I know I've repeated this a few times, but people are like, what's going on? What are you talking about? Sheikh Jassim has submitted a 5th bid for Manchester United. If his offer comes with a Friday deadline, after then the offer still stands, but he will no longer have engagement in negotiations. His 5th bid for United went in earlier this week with the opening of the transfer window on the 14th of June, a key factor in the bid. The new offer, although revised upwards, falls short of the Glazers' £6 billion valuation. So, yeah, like Shreya says, how's everyone feeling in the chat? Make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Get your comments in about Qatar. I said, Jim, I want to actually genuinely get an opinion because I've seen comments, but sometimes comments are fake accounts. You don't have a clue. Tell me why you want to Jim or tell me why you want Qatar, and I will read your reasons out. Because then you've got actual fans who are commenting. As long as it's United fans, you're not getting like Liverpool fans saying, I want this, I want the Glazers to stay, which is obviously not going to be a United fan. But get your reasons in. I want to interact. I want to see what people think about this situation. Why you want Qatar or why you want to Jim. So let's get the ball rolling. Let's see what people are thinking. And drop us a follow on TikTok as well if you're not already doing. I've been a few people are following us on there. On YouTube, subscribe to the channel, of course. But yeah. So Jim and Glazers is looking at United as business. That's how clear it is. It's always been that, though. It's always been that. It's never been a passion project, has it, with the Glazers? Let's be clear about that. They've always been hard-nosed businessmen who don't give a bollocks what happens to the club. That's it. It's as simple as that. Qatar all the way because Ratcliffe will mean we still have the Rats. We'll still be in charge. We can't put it all on Glazers. Malcolm Glazer, God rest his soul, was good. Jesus Christ. Oh, we've got someone who wants to gym. Want gym as don't want state ownership would devalue anything we achieve going forward. That's another thing to consider. I get it. I absolutely get it. I want Qatar because they have money to rebuild United. Qatar because we've got Nathan Game saying Qatar just because they need facilities to be top class quicker, the money, the boost quicker. Is there actually reports of another bid? Yeah, flip flops. There is. Mike Keegan's just put it on Twitter now that Sheikh Jassim's submitted a fifth and final bid. So that's legit news. I'm not just like making it up. It's legit news. So Brian saying, personally, I have no preference to either Sir Jim or Sheikh Jassim, but I'm leaning towards Sheikh Jassim simply because he gets rid of the debt and the Glazers. And I think that's a sticking point with a lot of people in it. That is the sticking point, ultimately. Cleon Lopez says, I want Qatar to take over because that'll give us full freedom and they will get a smile on United's fans' face. STP Mitchell says, I want Qatar. They have the funds to invest in all aspects of the club, not just the club, the community too. Jim doesn't have the money to buy the club and he's getting into bed with the Rats. Shaz, I'm saying, what happened to that Finnish guy? He was in it for PR and media, mate. That's all he was doing. And I don't think that was ever a legit thing, to be honest with you. Shreya saying, just want this to end so they can move forward into a new era. Again, some people at that point, people at the Tevez end, aren't they? They really are. Qatar will bring us back to complete, says Kev the Chef. Kev the Chef, I think it is. Bet you ain't heard a peep out of any Scousers lately, have you? Yeah, so it seems like a lot of the majority is going towards Qatar. Whether that's right for the club or not, sometimes it doesn't always work out like that. But this is where we're at the minute. The fifth and final bid has gone in. Now, how long this will take, fucking God knows. So whenever a bid's gone in, sometimes in a couple of days you hear something. Sometimes within a week, 2 weeks, you hear something back. 7 to 10 days is usually the bracket of time you're waiting. So we've got to sit on this now and wait until something else comes out. I do think, though, I'm absolutely hoping that when they say whether, that bid will do or nope, we're not a fan of that bid, that's it then. And they just announce that it's done with Jim. I'm not hoping it's announced with him, but I'm just hoping the fact that the bidding's done because this has been going on and on. We've been live a million times saying final bid, final bid, final bid. Is it the final bid? Would you be surprised if Sheikh Jassim puts in another extra bid, extra time, and they announce it like that? Like, it's just going on. We are sick of it. We want it done. It's as simple as that. Sell the fucking club. Please sell the club so we can move on. Start focusing on transfer targets. Start talking about next season. Do not drag this over the summer window. Just don't, please. So Jim Ratcliffe's in final talks to take over process. You're talking about old news. I'm not talking about old news. I've already spoken about that. I've literally just said Sir Jim and Ineos have emerged clear favourites to complete a deal and have entered the final stage of negotiations. That doesn't mean that Sheikh Jassim's not putting a fifth and final bid. Come off it. Come on. Right, that's the update as it stands right now. If anything else goes live, we're obviously turn on that notification bell so when we do go live, it'll let you know and you can just click straight on it and we can get involved in it together. So yeah, make sure you all smash a like on the channel. Make sure you subscribe to Real Red Talk for people on TikTok. If you aren't subscribed to the YouTube, make sure you check it out. We're going to be live later with a tier list, by the way, of transfers we want out, transfers we want to stay, maybe some potential ones that we want to go out on loan. So come and join us for the tier list, 7 o'clock. I'll see you in the chat. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day. And yeah, let's see what happens with this bid.